Well, good weekend, all. I'm Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening, as we're now on Friday, the 26th. It's hard to say that already, of July. You realize next week I'm going to be saying we're in August, and then I'll be looking out my window with the leaves falling down and getting ready for fall. It's too fast. What is fast is how fast we're getting all these reports. You realize that at the end of this week, we get our jobs data, and next week, we're already starting with JOLTS. That's going to be coming out now, and then you're going to get CPIs, PPIs. The cycle's never ending, going on. We had, this week? Some 25% or more of the S&P 500 report. That's pretty big. Gold has been a standout over the silver. It's been going on for a while. When I show you, when I do each day, the gold-silver ratio, you see how it jumped over it. It has been a pretty good bellwether. The copper market is basically caught at a number that I thought it was going to hold. And I think copper, you're going to see some big option buying on a further decline in the market for the long side. Doesn't mean they'll win. Some people will do a strategy. They'll buy one call, write a call further out to cut it down. But I think we're getting to a point where the market is stretching itself. That doesn't mean I'm turning super bullish. Please understand that. I think it's stretching itself. I didn't understand the rally yesterday in heating oil, where I was wrong. I ended up with having a really great profit in the morning and walk away at the end of the day for my customers with basically a minor profit, not compared to what they had. And then I watched the market today crash. Okay, you talk about you want to hit your head against the wall. I have padded walls here. Can't hurt myself. Dollar. Neutral. I mean, 4 points is nothing. You didn't do very much in most of the currencies. And understand, currency trade often gets quiet from this point until the end of August. I learned early on when the Europeans go away for their summer break, which is now, the markets quiet down because Americans do the same. You got the Olympics. If you can and you have the funds, who doesn't want to go and see the Olympics somewhere? You know, and I can't imagine a prettier venue. I love Paris, one of my favorite cities in the world. And it's just beautiful. Any way you look at it, it's a gorgeous city. And I can imagine the people there are having a good time, but the crowds are unbelievable. Getting a restaurant reservation will be unbelievable. You can't argue that you don't have a good value. They're on the euro currency, and you're at 108, so that's pretty darn cheap in reality. But we want to talk about what's going on. And what's going on is we're at the inflection point where it's a question of when the Fed starts cutting rates, not if they're going to cut. We're at that point. I'm not in agreement it should be in July, but I realize that there's some bright voices. William Dudley saying that we should. He's the ex-Fed president of the New York Bank. He wants the Fed to get ahead of the curve, and I agree. But I don't think they'll do it in July. I think they'll play the conservative role. We're going to telegraph to the market. But while we were thinking maybe none this year, I think you're going to see we're going to get a radical change. And I do think you put into your playbook that June was a weak month. We saw fraying in the labor market and certainly inflation not shooting up but starting to come down, in July even further so, and labor not picking up again there either. So I think you got 2 months in your belt. Yes, I want to see the jobs report, but looking at everything I'm seeing, will be surprised. They're looking for 175,000 new jobs. That's not 250,000. That's 175, so we'll see. When you look at the gold market, any way you want to cut it, if you look at gold on a monthly chart, monthly, and the month's not over, this is an all-time high for gold. Close only. Close only. Got that continuation chart. When we look at the weekly chart of gold, you're pulling back. You're in a bit of a correction. You have what we'll call an area of a triple top resistance. You can see that right there. And when we bring it out on the weekly chart here, have we done any damage? Well, not yet. You still have a pattern of higher lows, higher high. What else? You're coming into your first support at the 2349 level. So if traders are going to be a buyer, this is their logical zone that they're looking at. They probably don't want to see the market get under right here this low, and that looks to me like it's 22. Yeah, it's 22.98. It's $100 an ounce though from here. That's a pretty big risk, but that's what I don't think they want to see it get under. The resistance is crystal clear. It was the Bollinger Band, and the market hit it as it was overbought. And if you've taken my enhanced Bollinger Band course, exactly what I teach. The gold-silver ratio, as long as the market is staying over the 18-week average, you need, the higher number goes, it means you need more ounces of silver to get 1 ounce of gold. That favors the gold market. And when you look at silver, it's a very different looking chart than gold. You got a higher high and a lower low. Copper. Why am I saying I think you're going to get down to the zone where I think people are going to look at calls? Because you've got the 200, the Bollinger Band, the 100, all starting down here from the 401.5. I'm not saying it has to go there, but from 401.5 all the way here. What is the trade of the year that didn't work? Copper. This rally. I certainly was bullish in it and wrong. Got out way up here and called it a day. I wish I had gone short. Another trade that didn't work this year, gasoline. Where's the summer rally that we heard? Well, the reason in part you didn't get it is who? The great trader, Joe Biden. He put 1 million barrels of gasoline on the market to make certain you weren't getting that rally, so he could go into the election and you can't scream that your gasoline prices shot up on you and he didn't do something about it. Now, he's not running now. He was running when this all happened. He did a good job with that. Has he bought back into the oil that he told us he would for the spider? Well, they haven't told us if they bought any on the last offering. I wish they would buy some here and just gradually buy on the way down. No way you can catch the top or the other. Let me see what else. I'm sorry that that's ringing. I'm not going to stop here. Lower highs, lower lows, still looking pretty weak to me. Wants to come down a bit. And last in the dollar index, you're down to a support area. And given that we got to look at all that is going on right now, and you're going to be looking at a lot going on at this point in time, with, as I said, jolts coming out, the Fed coming out, and the jobs report, market's trying to hold right here to see what it's got. But again, if they're going to cut interest rates soon or rather than later, why is the dollar up? I mean, that starts pulling the plug under it. So I question if the dollar hasn't made it. I'm hearing other traders saying it's going to be stronger. I'm not in that camp. Right now on a weekly chart, rallies into the 100-day average and the 18 look like resistance to me. I cover this and a lot more every morning for you. And when I do it, by the way, I do my futures review 6 a.m. Central Time. That's when I typically start recording, so you can have that about 6:40 a.m. And for most of you, that's 7:40 a.m. Eastern. California, you're still sleeping. The Midwest, you see where it's at. And in Europe, it's a good time. If you look at when the markets pick up in futures, they don't pick up until after 7:30 in the morning, typically. I watch, I've owned brokerage companies, I know how this works. That's when your volume starts coming back in. People sleep, they waken, and away you go. In Europe, that's a good time to be doing it. I put out the Spider ETF and I start recording that at 9. I let the first half hour of trade go by. Why? Because you know there's an aftermarket that these people put in and everything balances out in that first half hour. Plus, if you pay attention to the U.S. reports, a lot of them come out between 8:30 and 9 a.m. Central Time. I want to get as much as I can in there, and then the trades. And by the way, when I put out the Stock Spider ETF, before I record the video, I send in writing to my subscribers what my recs are for the day, if I have any. And I update you with open positions. So you can't say, oh, I got to wait after 9 o'clock to get all that. No, you don't. They changed all that for you. And the futures people get an update in the evening, they get the video in the morning, and then they get an update at 11:30 or so in the morning. They've got a lot of updates throughout the day. So what do? Well, we look at chart patterns and fundamentals. So we're going to look at what happened during the day, in the evening, every single day. We're going to look at that and then technical analysis. You'll have your different videos here. The charts will look like this, and they're going to have all the studies you see here, plus window envelopes and a couple of more moving averages. And I will flip back and forth between weekly and daily charts, and I break my recommendations down off of weekly and daily as well. And I show you why I'm seeing what I am. And my idea isn't to be right. I love to be right. My idea is to give you trade ideas that might help you make a better decision for yourself off of what you think. That is really the idea. And yes, I track what I'm doing with you as we're doing them. No, I don't manage money. No, I'm not publishing track records. I don't want to manage money, all right? I want to help you with your trades, and you decide, does that make sense? Doesn't it make sense? IraEpstein.com research. Move your cursor to the top here, and I tell you, if you haven't tried us, try us for 30 days, 22 business days, about the price of a Starbucks tall latte. Oh, actually a grande latte with your tip. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great day, and I'll catch up with you all Monday.